Welcome to Pepperl+Fuchs Plugged In, where automation professionals can stay in touch with the latest enhancements in sensing, data communication, and control.
Welcome, everybody, to Pepperl+Fuchs Plugged In. And today I have a special guest here, Mike McCabe. Hi, Mike.
Hello. How are you, Helga?
Doing quite well. Mike, I should start by mentioning that you're a YouTube star. You have lots and lots of amazing YouTube videos out there.
Thank you.
And if anybody wants to see some fun videos regarding automation products, I'm sure by Googling Mike McCabe, you'll find
that.
some.
Mm-hmm.
So today, Mike, though, we're talking about a product that's part of a product line that we've had for a number of years. That's a very, very important product line for us. What is it? What did you bring?
Yeah, so it's not only important, but it's very popular. And it revolves around conveyor control, and we call it a G20, and that is referring to the housing, but it's a motor control module. And over the years have been making many strides to make this product better because our customers love it so much. And today we're going to talk about a new iteration, a new benefit that we've added onto this current line.
And we should add, when you say motor, what you really mean is a motorized drive roller, a conveyor roller with an integrated motor. That's what we're controlling.
That's right, yeah, because originally conveyors, it was very popular to put AC motors on them, and this is kind of the first point. This is kind of the first, or maybe our foray into conveyor control, because lots of times these conveyors with large AC motors on the side, they can not only be, let's say, dangerous to workers, but they're also very noisy and they're not that efficient. And so there was a move in the market to start going towards DC somehow. And so that led it to the invention of the motorized drive rollers. And you're right. I mean, the motor, instead of being on the side of the conveyor, goes right into the roller itself, which saves space. It's a lot safer, and it's also much quieter, a lot easier to maintain. You could replace one of those motorized drive rollers even while the conveyor is all hooked up and running still, something that you don't want to do with an AC conveyor all the time.
Yeah, and since now the motor is the roller, we need to have a way to controlling that. It's not one central location that gets powered up or down. It's by section. And I think you already mentioned the reduced or the energy efficiency comes to a large degree from being able to turn sections on and sections off as necessary.
You have a high level of control. And also, speaking of control, you can control the speeds much quicker. You don't have to have complicated, AC variable frequency drives or anything of the sort. Everything's very high precision control, and you control each section. You don't have to waste a bunch of energy for maybe light loads or when you're trying to idle.
Okay. So those are the benefits why the market went that direction. And we just provided a great way of supporting that trend. But let's come back to the G20 solution, I want to call it. Tell us a little bit about the system. What does it involve? How is it controlled? What are some of the benefits?
Sure. So Pepperl+Fuchs jumped into this whole DC conveyor marketplace with the G20, which can control either 2 or 4 sections of conveyor at once. What's nice is there's other solutions on the market that control motorized drive rollers, but I think Pepperl+Fuchs is so successful because there were a lot of features added to these motor control modules.
For instance?
So the cables are all connected to the module already. So a maintenance worker doesn't have to go out there and connect 4, 5, 6 additional cables to each module.
And these are the sensor cables.
That's right.
And the motor control cables.
That's right. Yep. So traditionally, you'll probably see photo eyes attached. So we have the cables that go directly to the photo eyes. And of course, we provide those photo eyes and pretty much everything that you would need for the conveyor control. But there's a lot of other things that we chose to do as well. So the power, for example, it's a flat black cable that would snap right into place in our module. So it's again, saving the maintenance worker or the person doing the installation, saving them time because they're not hooking up a power cable individually for each.
And they don't have to cut cables.
They don't have to cut cables.
There are no additional connectors, which is a huge time saver and also a money saver during the installation process.
Exactly. Yep. And that's why, some customers use this solution for pre-assembled conveyor sections because it's so simple for a customer to take all these pre-assembled sections of conveyor, put them into place, and then just take one spool of cable and route it very quickly through the whole conveyor line because, again, it just snaps right into place. Super simple and super easy. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a couple other, I would say, benefits and features that Pepperl+Fuchs really emphasized with their G20 line. One, of course, they offered zero pressure accumulation, an option for somebody to convey goods with no programming whatsoever. All the logic was internal to the module, and you could select it with some rotary switches on the back. It was very popular. Also, we focused on making the unit very small, a very small footprint. So compared to a large AC motor, maybe below or on the side of a conveyor, this G20 module fits perfectly on the side of the conveyor along with the other cables that are involved. Now, we did something else with the G20. We had an IO-Link version that could select between either 24 volts or 48 volts. It didn't matter. And in a second, we'll talk about 48 volts and how the market is moving in that direction.
And that is 48 volts for the motor. Of course, the sensor still runs on 24 volts. So we're providing power to the motors. These motors now run at 48 versus 24 volts.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And so we've done some other things as well. So we have an AS interface version of the G20, and the gateway itself that handles the OSI communication. We've put a lot of features into, let's say, the web server just to make configuring the conveyor easier. So no longer do you need complicated function blocks to adjust the speed or ramp up settings. You can do that very simply in the web server. And it's the idea of making conveyors much easier than you think possible.
So what you're really saying here is that the G20 solution as such has a large number of benefits. And now with this expansion in the 48 volt market of the motors, we give it yet another kick. We make it yet even more beneficial.
Yeah, that's right. Because the G20 has been catching on so well in the marketplace, a couple of things are happening, especially alongside this 48 volt introduction. So the first thing I would mention is the G20 works with many manufacturers of MDRs. For whatever reason, we've seen a lot of these MDR manufacturers make lines of MDRs that work supremely well with our G20s. And that comes down to the maybe the connection cable that you'll see on it. It's more of an analog type of control. So I just want to point out that there are so many options on the market now. All of the major manufacturers support this. But now these manufacturers, a lot of them are, again, moving to this 48 volts because there's benefits that go along with that.
Yeah, we should talk about the 48 volt benefit even compared to 24 volts, which, as you pointed out, is already a benefit compared to to AC, I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Yep. And so some of those benefits of 48 volts, of course, can be realized if you look at the power calculations. So if power equals current times voltage, we can quickly see that you're going to be able to get the same power with less current. So if we go from 24 volts to 48 volts, current is effectively halved. So what does that mean when you get to run a system with reduced amount of current? Well, the main thing is that you need fewer power supplies. So you could have a long section of conveyor, maybe even longer now in this instance, with purchasing less power supplies. So that, of course, drives down the cost and makes installation quicker and easier, maintenance easier. And there's a couple other things that happen. It is, let's say, more efficient because as current travels over longer distances, there's less voltage drop, there's less heat loss as well. And then also you just maintain that ability to control heavy loads and high speeds and maximum torque with this reduced current. So great benefits there. As the market matures too, what we're going to see are more MDRs, more of these motorized drive rollers that even go beyond the kind of standard 50 watts that we're currently seeing. I know of a couple options right now. They're already going up to 80 watts. So all that means is that they'll utilize this 48 volts to try and realize even higher speeds or higher torques, which I'm all for it. The market's certainly kind of heading in that direction. They want quicker, faster, heavier all the time.
Yeah. And what I want to come back to what you said about the available motors on the market. You'll very easily find motors, that motor manufacturers that promote compatibility to our G20 line.
Yeah, that's right.
We're definitely a very important player in the market due to design, benefits, size, flexibility, cost, I should add.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting to see how more and more companies come out with motors that are very well integrated or integrate very well into the G20 infrastructure.
Yeah, especially because what we see is a lot of these motorized drive roller manufacturers, they're very good at making motors, and they also kind of jump into the motor control modules as well. But what we've seen is, for whatever reason, our G20s and the systems that we offer really do offer some nice benefits. I already mentioned the cabling benefits, but for instance, some control modules on the market might take one IP address per zone. And for us, that's not what we're playing with.
That is very costly in many instances.
Yeah.
One IP address per motor, or even if you have a couple of motors, is very expensive. And
yeah,
of course, as you mentioned, ASI, you get a lot of motors per IP address.
Oh, you get so many zones. It's insane. Even with the IO link, you're still getting 32 zones of control per just one IP address. So that's nothing to not consider for sure.
All right, Mike, I think we hit on the major points. We need to watch the time a little bit. As always, you have a task, and that is to think about a 5-word statement to summarize while I'm trying to
will do that.
To put together a couple of statements that summarize the benefits that you were talking about. So I'll try that, and you let me know what else should be mentioned, what I forgot. So today we talked about our G20 line of MDR control modules. Those are designs that work very well with a large number of 24-volt DC as well as now new 48-volt DC MDR motors. The solution has many benefits. It is compact. It comes with all the cables included. Power distribution is via the AS interface flat cable, which speeds the whole process up tremendously, is very cost effective, very easy. The small footprint allows easy mounting of the modules inside of the side rails. And we have a large number of specialty solutions, including AS interface-based solutions, IO-Link, ZPA. We didn't talk about it, but we also have some pure digital I/O modules to control other types of solutions. And the drive to 48 volts is really it's based on the fact that by going there, the motors get stronger, and or we can have even more on a single cable, more motors on a single cable, because the current goes down as the voltage goes up. So again, more benefits for the installer. And that's about where I'd like to leave it. Anything important I missed?
Yeah, I would say in terms of the control, I've mentioned IO-Link, I mentioned AS interface. In both of those, of course, you can control the, let's say, maybe decision points of the conveyor with PLC programming, but all of our offerings also include IIoT languages. So if you ever do want to reach out to us, we even have a live, let's say, remote conveyor set up so we can remote right in and we can see how everything plays nicely together. But that's something that you could do too. So if you didn't even have a PLC, you could actually control a conveyor without the PLC logic. It's just neat what we can do these days. And we also have some really fun improvements coming to the G20 in the future, which are going to be just leading the market, I think. And I'm really excited for it.
Great. Good. So what's your 5-word statement?
I'm going to say 48 volts conveys all you need.
Very good. Very good. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mike. And as always, to our listeners, if there are questions, please reach out to Pepperl+Fuchs. You can go on our website. You can talk to your local account manager, and we'll try to help you as best as we can. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Thank you again, Mike. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Helmut. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Pepperl+Fuchs Plugged In. Please subscribe to our channel and never miss hearing about the latest innovations in factory automation.